Who knows the guy?
What to do? I'm sitting here alone.
Today?
No, yesterday.
Who knows him?
Pardon?
Somebody has no, I have to check into it.
Yes? Hallo. Hey, dat de oorlog gebogen was draait op de oorlog oorlog was aan gemoederd. Kaiser. Toen echt drukte, you come close to me, I'll kill you.
Okay.
And we want to know if he's dangerous. Is he really dangerous?
If he hit somebody, he attacked with the punch, and you gave him police. No problem. He was already in jail.
Okay.
Not in jail, he was in.
He's threatening people to kill them.
He's still in trouble.
We should go back to jail. Can't threaten people to kill them.
He has a history.
That's what he said.
Just a few weeks ago, he got wild and he punched somebody in his face. I didn't think twice, just called the police.
Good,
He
so
came,
that's what to do.
handcuffs, and now he's in trouble. He's in court, back and forth.
Yeah, so what was it?
Why did he threaten you? Right?
Why did they let him in here?
You didn't let him in?
Hij was laten hem eraan.
No, he was asking if he could help him, and he just was being nice to him. And he said, I'll kill you.
Maybe you shouldn't talk then.
Yeah, stay away from this guy.
Is he the guy by here? You know, there's notices on this door here for over a month. Well, I'm trying to find somebody to talk to. This guy here. See here, they changed the door frame. Somebody punched in the door. His notices are here. Would he know what to do?
Yeah, I'll tell him.
Yeah.
That's what we're telling you. The incidents, we have incidents.
I should. Okay. Listen, I'm sitting here and I'm not comfortable. You know why?
Guy burnt down a house in
What is it?
For over a month. They changed the door frame and the door.
Send a message. Whoever takes care of it.
So I don't know what to do. He's not.
Explain his place. Dat en dan ga je het helemaal nadenken.
Somebody.
Ja, step aan nog nadenken.
Somebody is supposed to be in charge with this. I'm gonna send a message.
Okay, try it.
Ja, dat is brengen. En dan doe het. Wat? Echt zo.
You have to be careful. You just had an incident in front of you. Burnt down the house.
I got scared, you know.
Guy says something like that.
Yesterday morning, I'm sitting here alone.
Yeah.
And the tall, skinny guy comes in and he's very angry. Start looking for
You ever
something
seen
and
before?
mumbling. Yeah.
De tall guy, ik heb nou zeg maar bogen op 50.
Oh, Faisal, yeah. He's on. I don't know. That's the phone.
Where's it been?
He says to me, if you come near me, I want to kill you. I said, well,
Started like this, out of the blue.
So the comment is that he actually hit someone. It's dangerous, not just that one state.
He's always very calm and happy. Maybe it's like making meditation.
I don't know what to do.
And actually, he's already hit someone.
No, but before that, we have someone has to say something.
What? No. I can't find it.
His name is Spice.
Why not swing?
It's not going here.
Oh, please, you're in court. So he's dangerous.
Nashes ball. Shemach Shalom Brachas. I'll come back. Yirmi Beis Chafal, Yirmi Beis Chafal. Ay 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 Yirmiyah Beis Chaf Aleph. V'anoichin et haticha soirek. Kulos haras. Ay 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 ay. V'anoichin et haticha soirek. Kulos haras. And 6 and 7. Yefida Seizav in the Mekabel alignment roses. Yefida Seizav Rashi. Yefida Vasai, ay 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 ay, ay 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 ay. Good morning, welcome. So we are at the end of page 64. Ad Yerecha Ad Percha. So v'zeh Maisa HaMenorah. How do you become a menorah? The menorah is Knesset Yisrael, the Kedusha of Klal Neshamas Yisrael, Dvar Hashem. The Knesset, it's Machaneses B'soich B'chinas Alakus. It embodies the divine energy, and it includes all Jews, Zerubbabel, even the person, the greatest tzaddik and the lowest of people are all included in it. How does one become the menorah, Maisa menorah, to leave their Ra and become a menorah, a source of light? So the pasuk says, "V'zeh Maisa menorah." The first thing is miksha, as he says, to hammer out the gold. To change the tzura of the midas, and then from there we go to zahav, gold, which represents yira, or it comes from the Hizbainanus and the truth of Ein Sof, which was the whole purpose of davening, as he explained why Anshe Knesset HaGedolah and Bayis Sheni instituted davening, which says in Shir Hashirim, Refidasei Zahav, his bed and the furniture of the bed is all made of gold. When somebody organizes their bed, everything has its own place. And in davening, when they organize the shvachim of Elokim, the praises of God, everything has its place. Every point of the world is an expression of a unique Dvar Hashem, a unique energy of Hashem that He created l'kvoide. And as He explains, there are 7 types of gold, 7 hose of gold, 7 shades of gold, represented by David HaMelech's beard as one of the legs of the Merkava, which represents a Malchus Kol Olamim. David allowed each one of the 7 branches of wisdom to flow into what's called gold, which means into Yiras Hashem, a unique type of Yira that comes from one of those 7. Those are the 7 branches of the menorah, which were all made of gold. Thank you so much. The 7 branches of the menorah represented the 7 branches of wisdom and the 7 days of creation. Each one encompasses 10, which are the 70 souls that come down into Mitzrayim, and each Jew is rooted in one of these 70. There are 70 roots in the Neshamas Yisrael, and everybody is rooted in one of those 70, which ultimately boil down to 7, because the 70 is just an expression of 7, the way they come down into more details. And each person has their path through which they can reach the gold, they can reach the sense of yira, of awe, through one of the 7, to be able to create Refidasei Zahav, which expresses itself in a fire, in a passion, like fire, which is dry and hot. And then he continues, Ad Yirecha Ad Percha. After we have Miksha, after we have Zav, he says, it was hammered out of gold, Ad Yirecha, all the way down to the base. The menorah, you know what the menorah looked like right on the bottom? It had this base that was called Yirecha, and then Percha means a flower, a perach. And what he means is all of it was hammered out of gold, the base of it till the last flower. In other words, the whole structure of the menorah, all the way down to the bottom until the last intricate design, the percha, the flower, all hammered out of the same piece of gold. Nothing was added later, welded together later. It was all mixtures of Ad Yirecha till the base, Ad Percha till the flower. Yirecha, hi regel hatachta. Yirecha represents the bottom leg, the foot, the lowest foot of the menorah, the base, the end of the menorah. Percha, the flower, hemaprachim el yonim. The flowers decorated the menorah all the way to the top. You had all the way on the top, each of the branches had flowers. They were decorations of flowers. You know, the menorah had all these designs. They had gviyim, looked like goblets, kaftorim, like buttons, apples, prachim, flowers. So the prachim were all the way on the top as well. Kula ka'achas nikra menorah. That's what the pasuk is saying. All of it as one is called a menorah. Bein g'dolei tzaddikim hanikrayim pircha. From the greatest tzaddikim who are called flowers. Why are they called flowers? Not only because flowers give off a beautiful fragrance, but also the word here is pircha. Flowers have different words. The word here is perach. Al shem sheteirosam utfilosam parcha la'ela. Parachim means flowers, but there's another translation. Parcha means to soar, to fly. So he says their Torah and their tefillah parcha la'ela. It soars upwards, like oif pairachas, right? A bird flies, it soars. Parcha la'ela. Aide the chilu rechimu, through awe and love. The chilu is awe, yira, and rechimu is love in Aramaic. Shem gatfin, they are the wings, leparcha, that allow the Torah and the tefillah to soar upwards. K'mavur b'Zohar HaKadosh, as explained in Zohar. The Zohar says, Oiraisa, beloy the chilu urechimu, loy parcha la'ela. Torah, tefillah without awe and without love, it doesn't soar upwards. It lacks the wings. The passion of love and awe give Torah and Yiddishkeit the wings that allow it to go up and to elevate the person, to soar up. A bird without wings, we have a Mishnah, Nitlu Agafeha, Kshera. A bird without wings is still kosher. We're talking about a kosher bird. In other words, it's not a vital organ that would turn the bird into treif. Like if it has a terminal illness that would endanger its life, even if you shecht it, it's not kosher. But without the wings, it's still considered kosher. But it can't fly. Yeah. A person does a mitzvah without love and awe, it's still a kosher mitzvah. But there's no wings. It's like a bird. It's one of the sad things when you see a bird. You ever see a bird with wing clipped and it can't fly. The bird is there. The meat is there. The meat and potato is there. The etzim is there. The Torah is Torah. The tefillah is tefillah. But it lacks the wings. Like parcha la'ela. The Maisa about the Baal Shem Tov, that he once came to a shul. It's a beautiful story. He once came to a shul and he was standing outside. They said, Rebbe, why don't you go in? He says, the shul is full with Torah and tefillah. He says, the shul is filled with Torah, it's filled with davening. I can't walk in. The atmosphere is filled with it. I can't walk in. So, wow, if I cared, that's a reason to walk in. What do you? Says that the Zohar says the Torah and tefillah without yira and ava doesn't go up. She said everything stayed in the shul, so it's very hard for me to walk in. Which was, of course, a very sensitive and respectful way of saying it's a very difficult place to enter, because there's a certain grobkeit, there's a certain narcissism or a lowliness. They do everything, but it's a hergish, a gefil of avos Hashem, of yiras Hashem. You know, technically it's fine. It's a shul. They daven, they do whatever they do there. Huh? There's something. There's a coldness there. The wings that take the Torah and the tefillah and allow it to go up are missing. So that's what he says. It's called pircha. Pircha means a flower. But the tzaddikim, their avodah is poirachas. It soars, so that's ad pircha. So he says the whole menorah is mixtures of ad yirecha ad pircha. There's no distinction. In other words, all the way, you don't say that the flower is a menorah, and the base, it's all the way on the bottom, that's not the menorah. It's all mixture. If that's not part of the menorah, then you don't have a menorah. It's all one menorah. Va'afilu hayarech, even the base, the lowest part, who be'emes menorah, is essentially a menorah. This menorah includes all the parts. However, they have to be made. All of it has to be made from pure gold, zahav tar. B'li syag means without any b'li sig. Sorry, b'li sig, not syag. Sigim are dross, right? Dross, impurities, sediments, psoilus, the schmutz. Like it says in another pasuk. Here it doesn't say the word tar. It says miksha achas zahav tar. The Torah uses for the menorah that it should be from one piece, from gold. But what type of gold? Zahav tar, pure gold. That's in Shmois, in Perik Lamed Hey. So Baal Yischi just uses the word zahav, but we know that it has to be tar. Ki has zahav im yesh bo sig b'min acher. Because if gold has sediments or dross that gets mixed in from another type of metal, the color of the gold, the shade of the gold changes. To yarkin is like a a greenish, yellowish. It's a different type of color. Cain, what does this represent spiritually? Ayidei hara, when the zahav is not tar, when it's not pure gold, through negativity, nishtana, a person gets changed. It's not the gold. The Gemara says in Masechus Shabbos, simin la'avera hadroikan. Same word, yerakin hadroikan. The Gemara says in Masechus Shabbos, daf lamed gimel, the sign of a sin is there's a change in the skin. Hadroikan is like a certain affliction in the skin. There's a change in the person. Something gets changed in the person. V'tzarech liyasur meira legamri. So whether you're low or you're high, you're the yirecha or the pircha, there has to be zahav, Torah, pure gold. Person has to be able to challenge themselves to go away from ra completely, to go away from any effect and impact of evil, of negativity, of wrongness. V'hainu, what does this mean practically? How does a person do this? Lahamin baboiker. Lahamin baboiker. To believe in the morning. Expression of the pasuk, of course, is lahamin, right? Tov lahoidis lashem lazam l'shem chalya. Lahagid baboiker chazdecha v'manoscha balaylas. So here he uses the word lahamin baboiker, to believe in the morning. What does it say to believe? Chadashim libkarim. The pasuk says in Eicha, Chadashim libkarim rabba emunasecha. In Lamentations chapter 3, Chadashim libkarim. Every morning, boiker is the morning. There's new. There's something new every morning. Rabba emunasecha. Great is the faith in you in the morning. We say in davening, Hamachadish betuvoi b'chol yom tabed maaseh bereishis. On Moedani we say, Moedani lefanechem alachavkaim shechazarta b'nishmaseh b'chemla Rabba emunasecha. He says, Lahamin baboiker, to believe every morning. And now is the morning. It's still the morning, yeah? It's nachalz the morgen. I know you were up at 3, but it's nachalz the morgen, yeah? Okay. Depends by Chassidim, see by Litvaks. Lahamin baboiker, it's a gloiben in the free, to believe in the morning. Chadashim lapkarim, shayoyim nischadash ha'olam mechadash. You hear the Alter Rebbe says, how is a person sur meira? He has to believe that today there's a new world, a neue Welt. Heint is anders, yeah. Hayoyim nischadash ha'olam mechadash. Today the world was renewed. K'mayim, like we say in davening, ha'mechadash betuvoi b'chol yom tamid maaseh bereishis. What does this mean? Shemamish nivra me'ayin liyesh. Not an anecdote or a euphemism or stam a mashal, but the mamish. Mamish means literally created once again, recreated me'ayin, from a state of absolute nothingness, liyesh, to a state of somethingness. Now when you say the whole world, so you could think the whole world. So he says there's one more detail. V'hu gam kein hayom neitzer. You could say about the whole world. Shall zayin anaye Welt. What about me? I'm the same old hog. I'm the zelbe, the same piece of shmat. He says, no, who gamkin hayom neitzer. He's also today created anew. K'moy Adam Harishon. You have to experience yourself every morning like Adam Harishon experienced himself the moment he was created. What was Adam's feeling the moment he was created? Anybody remembers, huh?
35 and young.
20.
35, no?
20, I think. B'nei Chaf. Full, mature. Shahakal niya b'dvara.
He felt lonely.
Huh?
He felt lonely. He wanted a partner.
Okay, that too. So then you get married every day anew too. You feel lonely like Adam, so you get married every day anew. So I said that the Rogatchover Gaon once met Reb Chaim Brisker. And they were old friends, they were chavrusas for a year. So the Rogatchover had a shitta, it's not for now, but he has a shitta in halacha, that nisuyin, marriage, is what he calls pu'ula nimshachas. There are mitzvahs, it's not once you do it and you yotze. It's, even though you get married once, but it's halacha considers as though you're getting married every moment. So big chiddush of the Rogatchover, which he explains a lot of Rambams and Sugis and Shas. So he told it over to Reb Chaim Brisker. Reb Chaim Brisker didn't, it didn't sit with him. So at some point, Chaim Brisker says, Mazel Tov. She says, what's the Mazel Tov? She says, Chesh Chasna gehat, you just got married. So I'm giving you a Mazel Tov. So he says, no, your Mazel Tov at my wedding also continues. It's fine. It was Reb Chaim's way of saying, we should start telling you Mazel Tov now for your wedding. But so she says the hergish of a morning has to be that it's Adam Arishon. What was the hergish of Adam Arishon? Basically, there were no no pekelach, no baggage, no trauma. There was no trauma. He couldn't blame his mother, his father, his community, his teacher, this one, that one, yena. Huh? What's trauma exactly? If you would have told him, the word, he's like, oh, naya problemen. So he says every morning a person, it's a hafladik idea that every person has that ability in the morning to be able to experience that. There's 1,000 thoughts in your mind that tell you, you're not the first human being, you're not the last human being. God is not putting you in a garden with all the trees and putting one tree off limits. But that's all part of what a person has to liberate himself from. That's why you need the Maimer, because it's not so simple. It could be counterintuitive.
So it's like tshuva, no?
Huh?
It's the concept of tshuva. You find out you don't need tshuva.
Yeah.
After you do tshuva.
Right.
It's the same thing. You find out you don't have any trauma after you clean the trauma.
Yeah. Real tshuva. What's real tshuva? Real tshuva is when you do tshuva, you discover, right, that you didn't have to do tshuva. That's the ultimate tshuva, the real tshuva. Huh? But you have to do tshuva to discover that. If you don't do real tshuva, you're never going to be able to discover that. When you, Nishdu. Nahal sich nicht mit dem. Ich halte euch nicht mit dem. Wir dürfen noch tshuva tun.
Last night what happened in Iran. It's going to be a war now.
Okay. No. Von dein Meul zu Trumps Euren. So,
What does it mean when you do real tshuva? You realize that you didn't really need to do tshuva. Find out Averis or not.
the Gemara says in Maseches Yoma, Rish Lakish says, Yoma 86, that when a Jew does real tshuva out of love, his doina is nasa like Zachias. The sins are transformed into mitzvahs. In other words, retroactively, the negative acts are redefined as mitzvahs.
So everything was meant to be like it was meant to be? Is that what it means?
That's on one level. On a deeper level, it's not for now. It's basically the tshuva reveals why God allowed it to happen, because it was really the step for tshuva. But as long as a person doesn't really do tshuva, they can't discover that. So Reb Nuchem is saying that when a person challenges and cleans up the trauma, then they realize there was no trauma. The trauma said there was trauma. The trauma said there was trauma, right? But when you could really clean it up, you realize that you were good, you're wholesome. The trauma doesn't let you feel that. So that's what he's experienced. That's what he's telling us. A person should be able to really experience himself as Adam Arishon. What stops us from that? What stops us from that is the chatter of the mind and the thoughts and the fears and the this. But Fedish not Adam Arishon. I have billions of packages and pekalach and suitcases that I've been carrying, and every day there's another 3 suitcases that the airline puts into me. But Adam Arishon came without clean slate, as they say, complete clean slate. When a person experiences this, bevadai yera v'yevish malimris eine kvoida. It does something else. It gives the person a dignity. Person will experience a yira, an awe, and a shame from rebelling, from betraying the divine. V'lo yirtza ba'olam ha'ayin. I don't know exactly how to translate this, but probably He will not want something that's not real, something that doesn't really exist, something that's not substantial. In other words, when a person looks at their life, it doesn't seem very significant. What I do, what I don't do, what I think, what I don't think, how I act, how I don't act. When the person can understand that there's a chidush ha'olam, there's something new, and he himself was created today like Adam Arisha, like the Mishnah says, Chayav Adam Loimar, B'shvili Nivra Ha'olam, Lefichach Nivra Adam Yechidi. Adam was created Yechidi to know that he is the world. There's no world and he's part of the world. Adam is the world, because if there was no Adam, there's no world. There's no human civilization. Adam was created Yechidi because he is the world. And this is, the Mishnah tells us in Sanhedrin, you know when they used to say this, they used to say this to witnesses who would come to testify against a person who was deserving, according to them, of capital punishment. So that means their testimony might cause his death. So they used to tell the witnesses, before you testify, understand what a human life is. You're saying that this person did this or did that. Understand what a human life is. And they would go into this whole presentation that Adam was created Yechidi because he is the world. And when you take one life, you're not destroying one person, you're destroying the universe. And when you save one life, you're saving the universe. So when a person understands this, and you can experience yourself as that, so then what I do and what I don't do has tremendous significance. It has tremendous value. It has tremendous dignity. The person will be ashamed because you're in a different position. You're not a small, insignificant, valueless creature. One of the greatest challenges to Avodas Hashem is when a person looks at themselves and says, Mi ani o ma ani, who am I, what am I? Come a piece of garbage or excrement. When a person can experience himself as Adam Arishan, it's not just the newness, it's also the sensuality, it's the dignity, it's the value that a person's life has, the value a person's life has. If a person would know that he is the only person who's going to daven today. There's a word I once saw from the Majidzer, the first Majidzer Rabbi. He writes, Anochi Hashem Alekecha is Lashon Yachid in the singular. Usually Hashem is speaking to millions of people. He should have said, Anochi Hashem Alekechem, like it says in Kriya Shema, right? Ani Hashem Alekechem, Shaitzesi Eschem, Me'eretz Mitzrayim. He's speaking to 3 million Jews at Matan Torah. Anochi Hashem Alekecha, I'm your God. Says what the Rebbeinu Shalom was telling the Jewish people is, I need you. It's you and me alone. I need you. I need you. Anochi Hashem Alekecha. It's you. If you knew you're Adam Arishan, it's a different approach. The Degel Machane Ephraim was a grandson of the Baal Shem Tov. So he writes, it says in Parshas Kisisa, Hashem tells Moshe, Psalacha shnei luchos avonim, make 2 new tablets, come up to the mountain, right? Lo yale ish imach. Nobody should come up with you on the mountain. Nobody should come up with you on the mountain. By Yom Kippur, it says in Parshas Acharei Mos, v'chol adam lo yiyeh sham ba'oil mayid. Nobody should be there by the oil mayid. Nobody. Nagel Ephraim says, God says, if you want to climb up a mountain, you have to imagine that there's nobody else. Ish lo yale imach. You have to imagine there's nobody else. That's how you could. The only way you can climb up the mountain is if you have to imagine there's nobody else. It's just you. Gam b'chush hara'os anurayim. Also with our sense of vision. Chush hara'os is the gift of vision, the gift of re'iyah. We see b'chol yoim ma'aseh bereishis. This is not just an emunah. Believe me. There's something that we can actually experience every day. Why? He says something beautiful. He says, if you're up at the right hour, what do you see? This pitch dark. The night is completely dark. And then suddenly, out of the blue, literally, as the sun emerges, darkness is transformed into light. That cycle of existence is an enthralling one. We take it for granted. Most people sleep through it. But he says, if you take a look, what is happening? Don't take it for granted. Basically, there's a message here. The message here is, it's new. Everything is new. A moment ago it was dark. Hashem could have created the world in this endless different ways. What is the meaning of this cycle that doesn't stop? Never, ever stopped. For thousands of years, it never stopped. The meaning of that cycle is that you should be able to have a sensual, almost a physical experience of the awakening of the world, of the newness of the world. Not just something that's abstract and transcendent, that if you understand how the world works, you understand that every moment there's a new creation, every day is a new creation. But you see, it's not just, and we're not talking about every moment, we're talking here the day. Night leaves, darkness leaves, and there's a new Metzias. This is the deeper meaning in the words of Ashrei. David HaMelech says, every day I will bless you. So we explain it, every day I'll bless you, I'll thank you. He says, but much deeper. Not just b'chol yoyim avarchecha, I'll bless you, I'll thank you every day. It's from the b'chol yoyim, from the fact that I constantly see this process of goy l'or. He rolls up the light for the darkness. And then he rolls up the darkness for the light, like we say in Ma'ariv, right? Goy l'or mipnei choshech. As the sun said, it's like almost Galila. Like, he rolls it up. He rolls up the scroll of light for the darkness. And then rolls up the darkness for the light. The fact that I see this allows me to recognize the need to be thankful, the need to express gratitude. It's not just I do it every day. It's b'chol yom. It's from the b'chol yom. It's from this process that happens every day. The newness, I can express gratefulness. Now comes a person and he's going to say, Shenimna etzloi. This is good for everybody else, but not for me. Why? Nimna etzloi. Liparid mehara v'hatayvus shenishtarish be'is. Alt is good and fine, but you have to understand my tayvus are nishtarshu. You know what nishtarshu is? They are rooted, entrenched. What we like to call in America addiction. It's nishtarish. It's not an extracurricular activity. It's rooted in me. This is who I am. So you want me to separate myself from my ra, from my brokenness, from my toxicity, from my trauma, from my taivus, my cravings that are forbidden. They're entrenched in me. I can't. It's like a new day, an Adam Arishan, all very nice. Thank you. You're creating me again, but in but I'm still the same person. Huh? Very good. Very good. The trauma is also being renewed. The luggage is also being renewed. Yeah. For this person, we say in davening. And when you say it today, or you already said it today, you say it tomorrow, whatever it is, we should reflect on the Alter Rebbe's, on the Balatanyas, his beinunus, on what he teaches us here. We say in davening. This is in the tefillah, in the bracha of Ezras, Avosseinu, right? After Kriyas Shema, before Shemona Esrei, there's that section, which is a very, very powerful section of davening. It doesn't get enough credit, because after Krishma, for Shemona Esrei, it looks like just, between sitting and getting up. But there's very powerful ideas there in that section between Shemona Esrei and Kriyas Shema. So one of the things we say, emes. I don't know if you ever noticed, 8 times the word emes is used in that little section. 8 times. Between Hanei Hashem Elokeichem, emes v'yatzev, until the end of the bracha Gal Yisrael, we say the word emes 8 times. One of the times we say, emes, it's true. Mimitzrayim galtonu Hashem Elokeinu. I'll just say the whole thing because he's going to explain. It's true, you took us out of Egypt. You liberated us from a house of slavery. Kol p'chereya marakta. You killed all their male firstborns who represented the might and the abusive, like the SS of Egypt. Uvchercha Yisrael ga'alta. And the male firstborn Jews you liberated, you emancipated. V'yamsuf lem bakata, you split the sea. V'zeidim tibata, v'didim hevarta. You drowned the rebellious ones, and your friends, your beloved ones, you passed through the sea. V'yichasu mayim tzareim echad be'em lo'inoiser, al zois shibchovim b'rem mulakel. And that's how we get to the end of the bracha, shir chadash, etc. So he says this is what a person has to think. Emes b'Mitzrayim galtanu Hashem Elokeinu. So you think you're talking about history. No. Mitzrayim nikra ervas haaretz. Mitzrayim is called in Chumash ervas haaretz. Ervas haaretz means the nakedness of the earth, which literally means the most depraved place of the earth was Mitzrayim. Hainu, what does this mean in a person's life? Hadibuk b'tayvis b'machshavtoi. You hear what a Mitzrayim is, ervas haaretz is? In your thought, you're connected, you're addicted to certain habits, to certain attitudes, certain cravings, certain inclinations. B'machshavta, it's all in your thought. In your thought, this is what you're connected to. V'hara makifoi. And there's a sense of evil, a ra, a negativity, a trauma that encompasses, it surrounds you. It's like a garment. It's makif you. What was the chiddush about Mitzrayim? Eino yochel livroyach, she'eino yochel lotzes. It says by Mitzrayim, even a single slave couldn't leave. You sometimes feel that you're in a place you can't get out of it because the ra, the negativity, is makif you. It encompasses you completely. You can't leave. Not only you can't leave, you can't even stop thinking about it. This is your thought process. This is how you work. You can't divert your mind from it. Zeh b'chinas Mitzrayim. This is pshat you're in Egypt. She'eino yochel livroyach misham. You can't escape it. You're trying to escape it, but you can't. Because the one who's escaping it is part of the problem. The one who's trying to escape is also traumatized. So I'm trying to escape, but I'm escaping from Egypt into another Egypt. Because my entire thought process, even when I think about Geula, it's with the help of Mitzrayim. That's the condition. You can't run away. Any angle you go from, you're stuck. You're bringing it with you. You're bringing it into the next stage. You know, sometimes a person thinks he's going to get married and he'll be free. And no, he just brings it into the marriage, and now his wife becomes his mother. Or whatever the situation is. You bring it. A person thinks there'll be a second marriage. They say the mice about a bird, that a bird built a nest, and then the bird said to itself, this nest smells too badly. So it leaves, builds another nest. And of course, there's excrement in the second nest too. After 10 or 20 nests, somebody explained to the bird and said, on one of your wings, you have some serious excrement. You could build as many nests as you want and fly to the other side of the world. It's still going to smell. Because the smell is not coming from the nest, the smell is coming from you, even though you're always projecting and blaming it on the nest. So sometimes the tools that a person uses in order to go out of their Mitzrayim, those tools are also defected. They're also impacted by it. So he feels stuck. A person sometimes feels stuck. This is just who I am. It's too deep. These things are rooted in me. They're entrenched in me. They're ingrained in me. And the Mitzrayim, which means limitations, constraints, are encompassing me from every side. And this is the meaning of the pasuk. Yeshaya Hanavi tells us in Perek Gimel, Noshim mashlu banu, Noshim loshin rabim, bein beheter, bein beiser. Sometimes there's a mitzias. He can't escape only with God's grace, only with Hashem's desire. He can't escape. He feels completely stuck. He taka can't. He tried and tried and tried and tried. I'm taka a new person, but as he says, my Mitzrayim also was created. Ki b'ratzon Hashem. V'zeu nashim mashlim banu, Yeshaya Navi laments. Women have ruled over us. He says, nashim loshin rabim. What's this nashim? Nashim bein beheter, bein beis. He says, all types of women. And here, of course, the Balatanya is alluding to a particular type of addiction that many people struggle with, where they are completely at the mercy of women. which is the concept of a person entering into a state, if nobody understands what he's talking about, Tavei Alecha Bracha. And if you do understand what he's talking about, then you understand what he's talking about. But this relates to quite a lot of people today. Lashon Rabim bein behete bein be'isur. Whether it's a permissible relationship or a forbidden relationship with Lashon Rabim. In other words, all types of relationships that completely control a person to the point that he does not have freedom. This is what he thinks about, this is what he pursues, this is what he does at night, this is what he does during the lunch hour, this is what he does on the websites, this is where he has to go. Why? Because he is not in control anymore. Nashim Mashlubanu Lashon Rabim. So Lashon Rabim is there's permissible and there's forbidden. And he's a victim, he's a complete slave. On this we say, Emes Mitzrayim Galton. When a person is in this state, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu Meitziyeh Mitzrayim. Then he has to realize he can't leave. You can't leave. Hashem takes him out of Mitzrayim. And he's quoting the words of Bilam and Balak, Keil Meitziyeh Mitzrayim. God takes you out. Emes Mitzrayim Galtonu. It's Beratzon Hashem. Ki me'ayin yava isha Yisraeli lebchinas Mitzrayim. Let's understand this. Vikum zu ayid Mitzrayim. How does this even have a connection with you? How can a Jew end up in Mitzrayim? Shenikru bonam lamakam. A Jew is a child of Hashem. Shetivam lasas utzayin aviyim shabashamayim. The nature of the Jew is to do the will of Hashem. Because you're a child. A child wants to be connected to parents. A child by nature is close to a father, close to a mother. How does a Jew end up in Mitzrayim? A Jew and Mitzrayim are two opposite realities. Doesn't belong to you. You're a bonam lamakam. You're a child of Hashem. If you're a child of Hashem, you're connected to Hashem. You're aligned with Hashem. You want to do Hashem's will. How does a Jew end up in such a trap? The answer is Aval hu me'ito yizbarach. This also comes from God. It also comes from Hashem. Shenosan hayetzahara. He's the one who put in this ability into a person, what we call the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination. Kemaimer, like the pasuk says, Asher Hare Oisi. Hashem says, I have done it. I have brought around I have caused the Ra. In Micha, the Gemara says in Maseches Sukkah that there are three things Hashem regrets every day. Right? One of them is the Yetzer Hara. Why? So the Gemara brings this pasuk. Asher Harei Oisi. I'm the one. Ich hab angemacht the ganze Cholent. I burnt the whole Cholent. So this is a very interesting Ma'ameh Chazal. What is that? God regrets it every day. So if you regret it, why don't you cancel it? Press delete. You have to understand this much deeper. Hashem regrets it. Well, if you regret something, you can change it. Like I regret. People say, I regret every day that I hired this person. No, so fire him. So if it's in the union, if you're under the union, kemenisht. But God can fire him. The pshat, of course, is if he wants it. But the idea of him regretting it is that's what gives the power for it to be able to be what it has to be. That it's not an inyan that I'm giving you because I want you should become a victim of the Yetzer Hara. I want you to know that it's something that's not you, that you have to overcome. We're overcoming it together. Just like by the first Mitzrayim. How did the Jews end up in the first Mitzrayim? They Galgal. How does a Jew end up in Mitzrayim the first time? How did it happen? The answer is a Gilgal, this way, a ganze Maisa with Yosef and the brothers and the hunger, until they got down to Mitzrayim. It was a complicated sugya, but basically he wanted it to happen. He wanted it to happen. The Bris Ben Absarim. The same is true your own Mitzrayim. You could blame yourself. Hear what he's telling you. A Jew doesn't belong there. You don't end up there. How are you there? Because that's part of your relationship with God. Hashem wanted the Jews to come into Mitzrayim. Gilgulim, like journeys, complicated journeys. The Redel Dreitzach, one wheel, like a dam, one wheel generates another wheel and another wheel. In other words, a lot of Gilgulim, a lot of winding journeys and complicated voyages until they ended up there. It didn't just one day they walked into Mitzrayim. Yosef didn't want to be in Mitzrayim. He was sold to Egypt. It wasn't his choice. The brothers didn't want to be in Mitzrayim. There was no food. Yaakov didn't want to be in Mitzrayim. He found out Yosef was there. And if you look at your life, that's exactly how you end up in Mitzrayim. Ask yourself, what was your first experience of Mitzrayim that you'll identify? And you'll see you did not choose it. What happens afterwards, you choose. Your first ending up in Mitzrayim was not your choice. There were facts of life. Now you would think this turns you into a victim. His point is the exact opposite. This is what allows you not to be a victim.
That episode can empower you?
Yeah, you'll soon see. He'll explain. Val kein ksiv, and therefore it says, it's a fire dike shtickle. Al kein ksiv, Yirmiyah Hanavi says, we say it in the Haftarahs in the summer. Yirmiyah Hanavi says, God, the Rebbeinu Shalom says these words. Listen to these words. V'anoichi netaticha soyrek, kuloi zera emes. The prophet Jeremiah is lamenting about how the Jews have fallen during the end of the Bayis Rishon morally, how they became morally depraved. He says, but I planted you as a soyrek. Soyrek is considered the most beautiful of vines. Soyrek is considered the choicest, the most delicious, geschmack and delightful grapevines. That's how I planted you. Kuloi zera emes. You are completely a seed of truth. That's who you are. What are the meaning of these words? Says the Balatanya. Afilu ksha adam noifel lamata chas v'shalom l'tayves b'chines shuruk ba'kmumiyas. We're going to go back to pre-1a. You remember the Nekudas of the Aleph base? Kamatz, Pasach, Segel, Frask. That wasn't a Nekuda. That's one of the Nekudas. That's the main Nekuda. It's the only one you remember. That was unintentional. It was just subconscious. So one of them is shuruk, right? You remember the shuruk? What's the shuruk? Crooked. The three points, but they're diagonal. It's called bakmumis. They're not in a straight line. It says vanoichi nitaticha soyrek means a vine, a beautiful vine. But it's also the same word as shuruk. Even when a person looks at himself and his whole life is crooked, he's a shuruk. He's crooked. In other words, he's not straight. The beginning of the day and the end of the day are not straight. A person doesn't have a moral compass. They get lost. That's what crookedness means. You know, when there's a winding road, you start here, you end up there, you end up there, because I'm not in control. So even when a person falls down, chas v'shalom, in taivas and addictions, and what's his best way of defining addiction? Shuruk. You have no life. You have no mahalach. You have no direction. You have no goal. You're a victim. You're in a trap. He says, Afal pikein kuloi zera emes. You should never doubt that you're completely a zera, a seed of truth. V'yachal ishtanis, v'yachal asas mizeh segel zgula. What happens when you take the shuruk and you reformat it? It becomes a segel. What's segel? Zgula. I'm zgula. You don't have to go and create a new picture. You have to take the same 3 dots and reformat. So a noichini taticha soyrek is also shuruk. Even when you look at yourself and everything is crooked, you should know, I planted it. You have no shaykhs to it. You don't belong there. You're a wholesome, powerful, confident, divine, holy person. I'm the one who planted within you the ability to be able to experience what you're experiencing, and therefore essentially you are not damaged. Because this also is part of my mission. And therefore at any moment you can transform yourself and turn yourself from a shuruk into a segel. Which a segel, am zgula means, zgula is like a gift, like treasure. Rashi says it's treasure. Zgula mikol ha'amim, from all the nations. V'chein hoya b'mitzrayim. Go back to what happened. What happened by Mitzrayim? Yaakov didn't want to go down. For good reason. Who wants to go down into addictions, into messes, into trauma. Shamra HaKadosh Baruch Hu Hashem said, Anoichi Eredimcha Mitzrayim v'anoichi elcha gamala. I'm going down with you. But I'm not staying there. I'm coming up with you too. What does he have to say? I'm going down with you. I'm going to take you up. No. I'm going to take you up because I'm going down with you. Because even when you're down there in the mess, I'm there. I'm there. You were ultimately sent on a mission. You don't really belong there. That's not really your place. You were sent on a mission to transform the shuruk into the segel. So I was there in the descent. In other words, you're looking at yourself as a piece of darkness. What I see it is as the beginning of your work to transform darkness into light. So the same darkness you can experience in two ways. You're seeing it as trauma, and I'm seeing it as the ability to become the most powerful person by transforming it. But I am there in that place. In other words, it was never real darkness. It's darkness in your experience of it, in your perception, because I'm there also, and I'm not dark. Der heißt, was tut sich?
Hashem is helping us sin. The Ishmael says a little bit, no?
Yeah, the Alter Rebbe was very careful with his words, but Anoichi Misha Anoichi Ered. No. Because he's not only talking about Avedis, he's talking about a whole attitude. He uses the word Taivus, Nefila, Yerida. Ira also, it's Al's Ein Pekel. It's the toxicities of life that alienate you from who you are. The point a Jew has to know is you didn't become Ois child. Bonim Lamakim, you're a child. If you're a child, this is who you are. Nothing happened. Like the Gemara says in Kedushin, Reb Meir, I'm a ben kach or ben kach, atem kriyim bonim. You're always a child. It's not like if you become an addict, you're not my child anymore, you're still my child. And as we know in that Gemara, we say halacha is like Reb Meir, like the Rabbi says in Charles Chuvas, Kuf Tzadik Dalet. Ben kach, you're a child. You're always a child. She says, how do you end up in Mitzrayim? That's how you have to look at it. How did I end up in this place? I don't belong here. I was never here. I'm not supposed to be here. It's not my DNA. It's not my chemistry. It's not my destiny. It's not my essence. The answer is, it's part of being a child. That relationship never ceased. Anoichi netaticha shuruk. If anoichi netaticha shuruk, so the anoichi is there. If the anoichi is there in the shuruk, then it's really a segel. You just have to switch the CD. You have to what's the word?
Rearrange the dots.
You got to rearrange the dots. And today it's very easy. It's called cut and paste. It used to be, when I grew up as a child, there was a typewriter. If my father made a mistake for the Algemein, what did he have to do? White it out. And if he made 6 mistakes, threw out the paper, put in a new paper, get a ribbon, and start over. Heinz, there's no mistakes. It looks like a mistake. Cut, copy, paste, anything you could salvage. Why? Because you have a word. Put it here, put it there, put the letters there. Yeah. So we have an illustration of this before Mashiach comes. In other words, what you have to do is you have to reformat the letters. You have to change a little bit the format. But it's the same energy, and you change it.
The moon could be more disguised, but you just get eradicated.
Yeah.
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 One's that as
Yeah.
that Hashem is with us during this time, or is he putting us in this place?
Both. Hashem Oisi says Hashem gave the Yetzer Hara to the Jew, and therefore at every moment you're not a victim. You're not a Yetzer Hara. You're not a victim of it. You're a Bana Matam Hashem Alakechem. You're on a mission. It was a tool, exactly. You say, but I ended up and I failed already, and it's 10 years that I failed, or 20 years that I failed, 30 years. Okay. Adam Mauritian.
Don't fight for your limitations. You have to get up.
And that's Pshat Anoichi, Anoichi Alcha Gamaloi, Anoichi Misha Anoichi. It's I. Who's the I? Whoever I is. In other words, the essence. Ered, I'm going to come down. It's not, I'm sending a shliach. It's anoichi. V'anoichi elcha. And I'm also going to bring you up. The same anoichi. You understand? It's the same anoichi. It's not two anoichis. It's not a new God. No, the zelba anoichi that's there is there. Shakadosh Baruch Hu oizre gam Allah. So what's pshat? Shebchinis gam yiyelei gam ken aliyah. He doesn't miss a beat. It should have said anoichi eder chamitzayim v'anoichi elcha. Anoichi elcha gam Allah. Even the gams in your life should have an aliyah. Shebchinis gam yiyelei gam ken aliyah. No wazag. He doesn't say. Even the gam in your life should have an aliyah. The oso, what's gam? Gam is the osos, the extras. The gams in your life should also have an aliyah. Noichi elcha gam alay. Huh?
Pig gum.
Anoichi misha anoichi. In other words, give me a name. You say I, verbistu. It's beyond the name. It's anoichi misha anoichi. It's I am who I am, my essence. And that anoichi is in the Yerida and in the Aliyah. And therefore, gam Allah shebchinas gam yilei gam ken Aliyah. We have all those extras in our life that we
also have this, also have
also.
Can't get up.
Yeah. Yeah. The gam also has an Aliyah. V'zeu, that back to davening, that's the meaning. Emes mimitzrayim gal tanu. What's the emes? We teach emes. In other words, it's not fiction. Really, at the end of davening before Shemini Esrei, by the way, all these stories about Yetzias Mitzrayim really happened. Okay, thank you. Well, till now we mentioned Yetzias Mitzrayim, we're not sure. Now suddenly emes. What are they trying to lie? He says, no, it's something much deeper. Emes, kikuloi zera emes. You have to remember that in Mitzrayim you are still completely emes. It's a seed of truth. Al kain mi Mitzrayim gal tanu Hashem Elokeinu. Because you're still a shtik emes. Therefore, wherever you are, God took you out of Mitzrayim. Sha'gula, what's the gula? She'yia havaya le'Elokeinu. He's not going to go through the words. Emes, what's the geula? Mimitzrayim galtanu. What's geula? That Hashem should become Elokeinu. That's pshat geula. Hashem is Yudke Vavke Havaya. That should become Elokeinu. It should become your consciousness, your koyach, your chiyus. Where Mimitzrayim galtanu Hashem Elokeinu mi beis avodim. What's pshat mi beis avodim? Hameshubad l'taivas. The person who's a slave to cravings and addictions and appetites and habits, pidisanu, you took us out from there. How? The answer is kol b'chayreya marakta. First thing he had to kill is the firstborns. What's pshat? Ki ba'olam nikre peter kol rechem harishon. In the world, peter kol rechem is the child who opens the womb of the mother. Peter kol rechem means he opens the womb. He's called the first child. That's what the b'chayr is. V'chein ben nefesh who has seichel, reishis chachma. In the human soul, what's the b'chayr? The b'chayr is awareness. Seichel is the beginning, right? All of our emotions, all of our experience, all of that, it always starts off with some level of a b'chayr. What's the b'chayr? B'chayr is always seichel. That's what's called reishis chachma. He teaches reishis chachma, not the beginning of chachma. Chachma is the beginning. Reishis chachma is the pshat. Chachma is the beginning. It's always the beginning. It's how you look at something. Awareness is the root of all emotions and experiences. There's no emotion or experience that's not being triggered by some awareness. Now that's hard to see because we get so emotional that we don't see the ratios of it. But there's always a b'chayr. There's always the first child. There's always what opened the womb. It opened up. That's the b'chayr ratios. Ratios are risay sechem. Peta kol rechem. That's the b'chayr. So he says, v'zel kol b'chayreim. Heim sichlim shal Mitzrayim arakta. What's b'chayreim? B'chayreim is all the ideas, the sichlim of Mitzrayim. Shekol, what does this mean in a person? Shekol echad reitzel la'amid ritzoyna idei sichloi harakta. Every person, the Mitzrayim wants to rule. Every person wants to establish his ratzon based on his own seichel, which is defined by Mitzrayim. The b'chayreim Mitzrayim harakta. What's pshat harakta? We teach harakta, you killed. What does it really mean? Sheyipol mimadrei gasoi uritzoinoi shenikra misa. What's pshat death spiritually? It says in Zohar, man de nafel medarge ikre mis. When you fall down from your state, it's a form of death. Like you say, I feel dead. So he says, when you fall down from that madrege, from that rutzen, it's called missa. Upcharcha Yisrael. What pcharcha Yisrael? Sichle elikus. When the seichel becomes godly. Lisbein in gedulas ein seif baruch hu betfilah. To meditate on the truth of ein seif by davening. Hanikra mitte bezoyer HaKadosh, which is called the bed, place of intimacy. Sheyesh betfilah mitte kisei menorah v'shulchan. The tefillah has a bed and a throne and a chair and a candelabra and a table. Rifidosoi zav. Back to the bed, which is made of gold. Ga'alta. That p'cher you redeemed. Kol b'choreim haraktov cherchi Yisrael ga'alta. What you first have to challenge is the b'chorei Mitzrayim. The b'chorei Mitzrayim is the awareness level of Egypt. That has to be challenged. Harakta. Ubchorchi Yisrael ga'alta. How does he teach b'chorei Mitzrayim? He says, Shekalecha dreitzel lahamed ritzoyne aydei sichla. When a person becomes stubborn to his way of looking at things. Every person says, I have to understand it. It has to work out with the way I understand. I stubbornly cling to my perceptions, to my understanding. That's b'chorei Mitzrayim. I'm trapped in Mitzrayim, and that's the only way I look at things. Harakta. What's harakta? If you could fall down from that madrega, if you could jump off that step, that's man de nafel medayig, that's harakta. Nefila of a madrega is called missa. That's what death is. What really is death is a person relocates from one space into another space. Avada. Very positive. Kol b'choreihem harakta. Uvchorcha Yisrael. What's b'chorcha Yisrael? B'chorcha Yisrael is the seichel that becomes aligned with elikus, with infinity, with ein sof baruch hu. It's the levels of awareness, it's a type of awareness that aligns you with infinity, that you liberate it. In other words, we have two types of b'chorim. There's b'chorim Mitzrayim. We look at Makkah's b'choris as a very ugly story, suddenly all the firstborns were dead. No, it's a very personal story. There's two b'chorim in your head. There's b'chorim Mitzrayim and b'chorim Yisrael. B'chorim Mitzrayim is, you're an addict, let's do I'm an addict, I'm a trauma, I'm this, I'm that, this is horrible, that's b'chorim Mitzrayim. It's called addictive thinking in English. Addictive thinking, that's what he's saying. It's the chachma of Mitzrayim. It's a seichel of Mitzrayim. It's a seichel of traps. It's a seichel of limitations. It's the seichel of nefila and taivas. It's the seichel that I'm crooked. That's seichel. And I stubbornly cling to it. Because that's what I'm comfortable with. And nobody will refute me. And I'll argue it out with everybody, including with myself. That has to die. That b'chor has to die. Because if that b'chor doesn't die, that's it. Everything else, it's like a vicious cycle. Everything else is a result of that. That b'chor harakta. Uvchorcha Yisrael ka'alta. Then the b'chor, the Yiddish b'chor, a Jewish way of thinking, can come out, can be liberated. Because you can't think two machshavas at one time. Either you're part of the problem or you're part of the solution. Either you're busy living or you're busy dying. You can't be busy doing both. Either your thoughts are living or your thoughts are dying. Either your brain cells are accelerating and growing or they're diminishing. Life is a cliff. Either you're going up or you're going down. So called b'chorei Yisrael ga'alta. Why? So that's emes. You're always in a state of emes. Mimitzrayim ga'altanu Hashem Elokeinu. You say, I'm stuck. You don't have to worry. God will liberate you. He put you in there. You're always in a state of emes. Mibeis avodim pedisonu. It's not just I'm a Mitzrayim. I'm an evet. You know what a slave is? A slave is you don't have control over your life. Your days, your nights, somebody else owns you. That's classic, real taivas. I don't own myself. I am completely not owned. Now, this doesn't mean physically. That could be too. It means emotionally. You don't own yourself. You're triggered by, either it means you're a full-blown addict or you're a half-blown addict, but even not. But something triggers you. You see something, somebody says something, and you're right in that place. Right? You come home tonight, and your Jacobson tells you something, and woo, within 60 seconds, you're in Mitzrayim. Your daughter tells you something, your son tells you something, better, your mother calls you and tells you something, your father tells you something, your brother, your sister, your shutuf, your this, your Yetzirah, and you're back there. In other words, I'm an Eved. I'm completely an Eved. And it results in all types of behaviors, obviously. It's not just attitude. Pidisano. But how does that happen? Eich! He has to go, you have to go to the B'chor. You always have to go to the, if you don't go to the B'chor, there's no healing. You see, you have here in 10 lines of Likutei Torah, what do you have here in 10 lines? I'm asking you, Reb Shlomo, what do you have here in these 10 lines of Likutei Torah? 10 lines. There were no 12 steps, there was no psychology, psychoanalysis, no Freud, no therapy, garnished. This is a Maimah from Tovkuf Nun Hey, 1795. Huh? 10 shuddahs, 10 shuddahs. The erste Shib ist geblieben. Mazel Tovs. So sein a gita haschala. No, it wasn't such a bad idea, was it?
Wow, that's the choice. That's the choice.
Okay.
You want real caffeine, you come.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Should be with Hatzlacha. Enjoy. Where are you going?
I'm already to Pennsylvania. Oh, I forgot.
Beautiful.
On a lake.
Nice.
Yeah.
Enjoy Hatzlacha. So this Tavis. You have what to go with.
Yeah.
You have what to go with.
And I have my wife. I'll still be here.
Okay.
I want to share one quick thought. There's a book called Discoveries that detailed the discoveries of the 20th century. One of them was Galileo invented a navigational tool, put it on his head on the boat, and you can look at the stars and you can navigate throughout.
Yeah.
The problem is when you're going from New York to California, and you're off by 1 degree, you don't know the California.
Yeah.
So Rob mentioned towards the end about the ability to go outside of oneself and mavata one's own das, to accept that David Melech or Rabbi Shalom is greater than one's own das in order to expand one's base. He couldn't. So therefore he didn't, the verse said at the end about the ability to look introspectively and then realize Hashem runs the world. So Afi Teufel was unable to reach that point.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, yeah.
Initial awareness of the fire. The person's not aware of his awareness. Sometimes
Right.
it becomes
Right. The awareness could happen unconsciously. Yeah. And it's just natural. It's set in motion already. Kol b'chereim, he says, Eichoisa geula through kol b'chereim arakta. It's not stam part of the process. Because why doesn't he mention the other 10 makas here? That's the essential geula. The essential geula. Makas b'chereim brought the geula. Frogs, blood, kiddim, all's good. That didn't bring the geula. You need that. You have to challenge Mitzrayim. But ultimately you're going to have makas b'cheres. What broke Mitzrayim was makas b'cheres. In a person, without the makas b'cheres, nothing will happen. You're not going to leave Mitzrayim. So all's good, but Pari will come back. He'll rebound. He'll keep on rebounding because you didn't deal with the genesis, with the awareness. It's a hafladik of art. I was pshat b'cheres Mitzrayim. Sheroitze lahamed al daitoi. He stubbornly, it has to be how I. Yeah.
Want to follow through and behave on what his initial awareness goes on.
What my original awareness, that's truth.
Without challenging that.
Yeah, exactly. That's my truth. How can I go away from that? I will stubbornly hold on to the way I perceive things. Because that's the only reality I know, so I can't change that.